if if you were a student right now, or if you are a student right now, and you had an assignment, wouldn't you choose the easiest way to do that assignment? I mean, in life right now, if you get an assignment, not necessarily an educational assignment, somebody gives you a task to do, wouldn't you first try to find the easiest way to do it? Or would you search out the most difficult way to get this job or task completed? I feel like we have students that are using the easiest way, and we're penalizing them by saying you can't use the easiest way, you have to use the hardest way, because that's the way we've always done it. Instead of saying, hey, here's a task, here's an easy way to complete that task. And then focus on some stuff that was hard for them during that task, and helping them understand how to work through that hard stuff. Letting go of the easy stuff. Now, for 2 years, I've been trying to teach my students to use the tools available in order to complete tasks. Use the tools to make the tasks easier. Ooh. For example, using AI or ChatGPT to help students complete assignments. I know it sounds crazy. You're a professor. Why are you telling your students to use ChatGPT to complete assignments? Well, in my assignment instructions, I'm actually giving them how I want them to use AI to help them with their assignment. And what happens as I do that is then I also have parts of that assignment that I know is really hard for AI to do, or harder for AI to do. And I allow them to focus on those parts. And guess what? Those parts in my assignment are technically, or I guess for the students, are the most fun. And guess what? What I've learned is that if the students are having fun, or they are discovering information in a way that's applicable to their lives, and if they can see it as applicable to what they want to do, they want to do those things. What they don't want to do are tasks that have low value in their minds to what they're going to do, and apply it, and it's not very applicable to their life. So we have to change. I had to change. And guess what? As a professor, I had to change. And guess what? My students, are way more engaged in my classes. They're way more engaged in the assignments. I've lowered the value of those tasks that I know AI can do for the students easily. But I haven't removed them from the assignment or the task. I haven't removed them. But what I did do was I lowered their value, and I also helped them understand the thought process that they need to have with even example prompts, or examples on how to build the prompts, the thought process they need to have as they build those prompts. And I've had them create those prompts as part of the thought process, sharing those with me. And here's what I found is that in the students doing that, they are thinking differently about the assignments. And when they discover the information, they put those prompts in and they get a response from AI. and they review that response based on the prompt to see, did it give me the information that I needed in order to complete the task based on my prompt? I have them review their prompt and say, what was missing? Why was this not right? And then rethink your prompt. What was missing? What vocabulary? What details? What ideas? What things did you not think through in order to come up with the prompt to be able to create the thing that is easy for ChatGPT to create with the right information? And the information is there for me to be able to review and assess their process. Did they understand the information enough to be able to provide them with the correct prompt? Was it specific enough? And I'm getting just much better results. The other thing is I'm not tripping over that final paper where I just see so many faculty members and teachers really tripping or getting stuck on this idea that the students aren't writing the essay that they're turning in, and so they shouldn't get credit. And I have a really unpopular answer. They don't have to. They don't have to technically write the whole thing anymore. They just have to be able to have enough information, good information. They have to know enough information in order to be able to use a tool to provide them with the output that satisfies the task. At some point, every person will have the ability to be their own manager. They're going to manage AI in their life to complete tasks for them or with them. And so that has got to be a part of the learning process as we move forward as educators. Yes, they need to understand concepts, theory, ideas, thinking strategies. And a big critical idea is that, students aren't going to have to think with AI. I've heard even people on social media saying, I'm just getting stupid because all I do is use ChatGPT for stuff. And I can tell you right now, it's not as easy as people say it is for them to do if they're getting quality output, if the tasks are being done with quality as opposed to just getting done. I know it's not popular, but as I have continued to see the advancements of reasoning, agentic AI, where we can create our own agents that will assist us in everyday tasks, whether it's in work or life. The ability to communicate and think about what you need to say or type has become more and more important and will become more and more important in the workplace and in life. So, do I think AI is going to replace English instructors? Nope. But I do think that English instructors are going to have to change and replace what they've used as the assessment model. That assessment model in English is going to have to be replaced, or they will be. Again, not a popular opinion. Look, I'm an instructor too. I understand that we use open source textbooks, meaning that they are available and free on the internet. I want to help students discover the ideas that the textbook explains, or at least tries to explain. I want them to discover the ideas And I want them to find a way to understand them in a real world application so it means something to them specifically. And in doing that, it makes it fun for them to learn. Solving problems is a different place in your mind than, solving a problem like filling in lecture notes. That's really just being able to identify words in a sentence that fit in the sentence of the lecture notes. And I hate to say it, but ChatGPT could do that for them by transcribing the lecture, uploading the lecture notes, and just having it do that. It's a very low level of thinking and learning. And I think that that's the key for education, is that we are going to have to focus on the higher order of thinking and learning, the things that take more cognitive, creative resources, like solving problems, for example, through case studies, creating case studies, thinking about what should be included in a case study. I know that doesn't work for everybody. It's like, well, what about math? What's funny to me is that math, ChatGPT wouldn't exist without math. The computer programs running ChatGPT, they see the letters and everything in it's still a computer program. It's math, it's algorithms. But what if we taught math in a way that allowed students to understand or solve problems? Now, I know what you're saying, but some of these students they can't even do basic math. And why? Why can't they understand basic math? Because probably for years, they haven't had to learn. Haven't had to learn. I know, dude, this is dangerous. My comments are going to be crappy. They haven't had to learn because we teach to a state standard. And let's just say those students fail the state standard in 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. How many of those students are we holding back in 5th grade saying, hey, look, you didn't learn? And most students don't learn there's plenty of reasons why they don't learn. I just read an article or just saw a lecture that said the number one reason why students are having a hard time learning is not because of bad teachers or the information. They're having a hard time learning because they're hungry. They come to school hungry. They don't know if they're going to eat when they get home. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If students are homeless, if students don't feel like they're not safe, they have food instability, housing instability. It's hard for them to focus on financial instability. It's hard for them to focus on learning new things that technically in their minds don't matter. Who cares about math? I'm going to figure out if I'm going to eat tonight. Or in the next day or 2 days. And I know in like elementary school and high school, there's programs for food in the mornings, but what if we got to solve We got to solve some problems, especially at the younger age groups. But I'll tell you right now, just like computers, laptops, when they entered into the classroom, it fundamentally changed the way we were teaching. And we used them as tools. And we use them as tools. And as educators, we need to lead students and how to use AI as a tool. Start using ChatGPT, Claude, Copilot, Gemini. Gemini just came out with a new model. It's ridiculously awesome for image generation. Think differently as an instructor. You have way more tools. The stuff that would take months for you to create in your classes in order to do something in your classroom that is significant to the students discovering information. Is at your fingertips. With you not leading, your students don't know what to follow.